Yes, my people, welcome back to Tenacious Trading Group. So today, yesterday I took a nice SBS setup on gold. So I'm just gonna break it down to you, and after that, we'll be going over to Nasdaq and seeing what potential trades we could have taken. So when I hopped on the charts at the time, Enki wasn't doing much, so I went to gold and then I saw a potential setup. So, as you guys already know, see the setup, trade the setup. So, we had this bearish zone that price created. We were below the SMA on my 1 hour. On my 15-minute chart, we were also below. And then on my 5-minute chart, we were also kind of like hovering. But overall, you could say potentially that price was starting to get below. So, when I go back to the 15, I actually had this zone drawn up yesterday, and at the time of this zone being drawn out, obviously it would have been 1, 2, 3, obviously 4, 5. However, there was no initial flip as price was continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. There was no flip in there within my lower time frame, which allowed me to take this trade back down. And obviously, that's not a problem for us, as we understand that if there's a zone right above us, which is this zone here, there's always a chance that where my protected high, in this case, will be here, could always be liquidity where people get stopped out, and then we use that as fuel, which is going to help us continue back down. So when I understood that and when I saw that, all I had to do was just change how I saw my SBS, as we are still below the SMAs. So ideally, I should still be looking for shorts. So now, this is how my SPX would have been: 1, 2, 3. Obviously, price set nicely. 4, and then 5. You mean you could say this is your 5, but I would say that this is my 5 because this has now created that double. This has now created that double top. So obviously, hopefully, price now continues to make lower lows and lower highs. So I mean, if I was to draw up my fib from this high to this low, we also tap the 618 to the T, which is quite nice. We also create that double top, which is also nice. And many people might enter off a CSS, but then you might have potentially gotten stopped out from that. And obviously, if you're looking out for another CSS within here, then we don't get a deep enough retracement, which allows us to get in. But then if he's gonna add it and do it like that, then technically you now get yourself involved within this. But for me, I did not enter off that. Yeah, so I did not enter off the 618. I just wanted a little bit more before I was going to get in this, because I was on the 50-minute chart on the time of this trade. So I already understood that for price to go down, it's going to take a little bit more time compared to the 1 minute or the seconds chart. So another thing that I saw at the time was that we had a failure swing. And the reason why this was a failure swing, I'm going to just use that for now. But the reason why this was a failure swing was because this was a validated swing high. We failed to close above this validated swing high, hence this was a weak low. So technically, I could draw out my fib from this high to at the time of this low. I won't use that one, I'll use this one. Yeah, because I wouldn't say internally, but internally it's a flip. So I'll just use that. And then obviously within here, I saw SBS as, at the time I had this as my 1, this as my 2, this as my 3, obviously price swept, so this has my 4, and then this has my 5, which created that double top like again, as you guys can see here, up, down, up. So hopefully price now reverses. And then what made me more confident, what would make me more confident is when price now breaks this almost like support line and turns into resistance. Then this will give me the confidence that price wants to keep on going down. So yeah, so we're gonna let price play out. I was gonna enter off the CSS, which I did. So right there, and then yeah, so short, and then my stop was above this high, and then I had the target of, let me get it out 1 second, guys. Yeah, so this was my target, about that. And then when you let price play out, see how price nicely came. I drew this support line here as well to see how price would react off this area here. And I had, at the time, I had my stop above just this support, hoping that price respects this support and keeps going down, but I got stopped out. Look, I got stopped out for 1.6R. So I mean, it wasn't the end of the world. It was a good setup. Saw the setup, traded the setup just to show you guys here. This was my trade where I got stopped out at 1.6RR. Would I take this again? Yes. So just to break it down to you, when we get out my checklist, where's my checklist? Yeah, so when we got my checklist, price was, oh my days. 1 second, guys, sorry about that phone call, innit? What can you do, innit? When you're busy lads, you got people calling you. But as I was saying, when we get back to the checklist, obviously in terms of market structure, price was bearish, as you already know. I mean, we was in a pullback phase, and now it looks like we were now in the continuation. We had an unmitigated zone, which was this bigger zone right here. We had SBS. I mean, we didn't really tap into any fractals. We probably had this imbalance that you could say price tapped into, but we don't really use imbalances here. But yeah, you could say imbalances. We didn't really have an SNDR, to be fair. Obviously, it was on a higher time frame, so that's ticked as well. We also had a trend line break, which I'm gonna show in a minute. Did we have RSI? Yeah, and we even had RSI. I even forgot about that. So we even had RSI over here. Let me just do it like that. Yeah, so we even had RSI over here. And yeah, RSI, obviously price was in a discount, support and resistance, what else? Failure swing. So in terms of areas of interest, we've at least ticked half of these. Yeah, so we've at least ticked half of these. So it makes this a good setup, a good trade, and it just gives you that extra confidence that, yeah, you know what, there's always a chance that potentially price is gonna head the way I would like it to go, through my technical analysis. Obviously entry confirmation was CSS, but we also kind of had an S&D flip, which you guys haven't been taught yet. You could also have a sell stop, I don't know, below these lows. You stop above that high, and you could always aim for a 1R, which you get. So in terms of entry confirmation, there was different types on where you could have potentially got in. Again, 618. You could have got in from 618. So just from like all of this technically is an A star setup. You know, yeah, it was a good trade. Sold the setup, traded the setup, followed my rules, and yeah, man, That's it for today. In terms of NQ, I'm just gonna do this on another video, innit, guys? I don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, always remember, guys, victory belongs to the most tenacious, and I'll see you guys whenever I see you guys. Peace.